This podcast is brought to you by Most Valuable Podcasts, saving your day from boredom with the best podcasting entertainment.
Welcome, nerds. I'm Mark Weber, and you're listening to A Graphic Conversation, the bi-weekly podcast where we read, discuss, and review the best, and hopefully not the worst, in graphic novels. I am joined, as I not always am, by fellow man-child, Johnny Karlic, and the original man-child, Ricky Widmer.
What's up, guys?
So, we have someone else here. There's three people at this table.
Yeah, Johnny's actually here today.
Yeah. We invite him every week, and he never shows up. Today, he showed up.
Special occasions.
Johnny thought to himself, you know what? Marvel is my jam. And I mean, this is the first Marvel comic that we are reading for A Graphic Conversation.
Yep.
So, Johnny, that's why he decided to show up.
Yeah, it works.
Mm-hmm.
And if I'm remembering right, you are a big Spider-Man fan.
That'd be him. I do like Spider-Man, but he's not even my top five.
He's not.
Yeah,
top
he's
five,
a Wolverine guy.
Wolverine's my number one.
I like Wolverine a lot too. Spider-Man's cool.
He's cool.
Yeah, he's cool. I like Spider-Man graphic novels because they're really kind of jam-packed in a way, sometimes to our detriment, as we're all sitting here like, whew, this was long.
Yep.
Volume 1.1, 1.2, 1.3. Why was issue 1 80 pages?
Yes.
Yeah.
Now, here's a question I got for you guys, because when usually I am reading a graphic novel, like a Spider-Man, a Batman, a Superman,
Yeah.
there's a voice you put in your head. Like
Okay.
for Batman, it should be Kevin Conroy. If you don't have that voice going on in your head while you're reading Batman, first off, there's something wrong with you. Second off, it's the only Batman voice that
No,
should
it should
be
be
known.
Christian Bale in The Dark Knight.
No. It's just like when you read The
Batman.
Joker, it should be Mark Hamill's Joker going through your head. Which Spider-Man do you guys think of? Because I couldn't help throughout this graphic novel thinking of, I want to say it was Drake from Drake and Josh, who does the voice in The Ultimate Spider-Man. That's the voice I had in my head.
I'd say it's kind of that, maybe sounding a little bit older at this point, because you can tell he's older than that. But yeah, generally that, or maybe
Tobey Maguire.
No, absolutely
Tobey
not.
Maguire
Absolutely
in the
not.
third movie, to be specific.
Andrew
Garfield?
Garfield a
I
little
like
bit,
Andrew
maybe.
Garfield's Spider-Man voice. It's very appropriate.
Yeah, it was
He
one of
fits
those
Spider-Man
two.
very well. Unfortunately, he's no longer Spider-Man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He got that taken away from him, which I think is a shame because he actually was a pretty good Spider-Man.
I agree.
The only reason he got it taken away was Sony's like, yeah, about that, we're giving your character over to Marvel.
Yeah,
And they don't
like
want
we're
you.
done with this
They
whole
don't want
Spider-Man
you.
thing. We're gonna get a lot more money if we just sell this shit.
Yep.
So that's good. Anyways, subscribe to this channel. But beyond that, today we're going to read The Amazing Spider-Man. This is the 2014 version. Don't get confused with the 1960s or whatever it was. We are going
Keeping up with the modern times.
Yeah, we're going back to modern times here. We are reading just a graphic novel compilation of issues 1 through issue 6 for The Amazing Spider-Man, where, like I said, it's 2014, so everything is modern.
And I'm going to warn you guys, don't make the same mistake I did. There is like an issue 1 and then a 1.1, 1.2. Just skip the points.
Like up to 1.5, 1.6,
Yeah,
I think.
you don't need to do the 1 point whatevers because it's just an origin story for Spider-Man.
Exactly. And if you guys don't know how this works, what we do is like I said, we read, we discuss, we review a graphic novel, and we're going to have a spoiler-free section, which is what we're in right now. We will warn you before it is the spoiler zone, and you can have your opportunity to go and read if you would like to. You don't have to read. That's fine. It doesn't really matter to us. I mean, just join in on the conversation because it's Spider-Man, and everybody knows a little bit about Spider-Man anyways. So feel free to do that as well. The quick question right off the bat, Johnny,
Yes.
should people read it?
I think they should.
All right, Ricky, should people read it?
I would say yes. I was not expecting that question, but you know
There you
which
go.
one I was expecting.
And I agree. You should read it.
Go read it.
End of the podcast. Hit the sub button. Anyways,
We're good. Let's go.
Bye, guys. So we're gonna be in this spoiler free section right now. So I will ask the real question that Ricky would expect. Ricky, who should read this?
Well, I think, if you're a Spider-Man fan, this is a must-read for you guys. But also, if you're trying to, like, if you want to get into the character of Spider-Man, this is a good one for you. And especially if you're a person where you're like, you know what, I would like to get into a Spider-Man graphic novel, but, just reading the ones from the 1960s just ain't my jam. I can't relate to it.
Yeah.
This is one for you because they're using Twitter, the hashtag Spidey Whiteys, the official hashtag of this episode of A Graphic Conversation.
Yeah, Johnny, who should read it?
I would say I agree with Ricky, along with anyone who wants to, like, hey, I read a lot of Marvel stuff. I want to get into someone else. It's already got your action, you're jam-packed with action, as well as a lot of storyline, so you're not going to be bored with any part of it. I just say a fair warning of make sure you go through it slow so you don't get confused.
Yeah. I think that there is a little bit of prerequisite knowledge, kind of, I don't want to say required, but beneficial.
Well,
Yes, agreed.
The thing that you have to get caught up on, or the thing you have to just, if you're not caught up on it, you just have to
learn
accept
quickly.
it,
Yeah.
is that I guess Doc Ock had done something where the Spectacular Spider-Man was Doc Ock's consciousness in Peter Parker's mind.
They switch brains.
Yeah.
Yes,
So
essentially.
if you never read Spectacular Spider-Man like myself, you just got to come in with that open mind of, okay, this is happening.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
it's either that or go read it. And I can only say maybe it's got to be a decent storyline.
I would hope. Unfortunately, none of us had read
Spectacular
that
Spider-Man.
arc. So that doesn't really help us. I think it's a really cool ballsy move for them to do.
Yeah.
To be like, hey, we're going to try this for a little bit. Evidently, it must have failed because now we're on the Amazing Spider-Man.
And the thing that kind of, like, you brought up before we hit the record button was this something where they were going on that arc of the Spectacular Spider-Man and we're like, yeah, this shit ain't working. We got to change it up. And then, boom, they do this to put Peter Parker back as
they kind of say, all right, stop. Don't forget about what happened, but we're going to kind of ignore what happened.
So like a soft reboot.
Yeah, in a way.
I would agree with a soft reboot, not a necessary reboot, because we are just like, it's just like you said, it's not working. Let's go back to what we do. It's either that or you just kill off the character completely, and then you have to.
And it's Spider-Man, so you can't really do that.
Then you have to hard reboot it all over again.
Man, that would be cool though.
What, killing off Spider-Man?
Yeah, just say, boom, Spider-Man's dead. Forget it. We're done. Pack it up. Time to go home.
No, let's just wait for the end of the Secret Wars for that.
Yeah, right. And then they'll wait a year, and then Spider-Man gets reborn. I think that's cool. I know we're talking about Marvel, but the one thing I will give credit, I like when writers of comic books are willing to take the risk of doing something like Doc Ock being Spider-Man, or because you mentioned the hard reboot, like the New 52 on DC side. I like when you're willing to have the balls to say, you know what, screw everything you know, we're starting over.
Yeah.
We're starting everything over. And you kind of get a little bit of that vibe from this, of them being like, yeah, maybe that didn't work, maybe it wasn't well received, forget about it, we're starting over by getting Peter Parker back.
Yeah.
None of this is spoiler because it's kind of revealed in like the first issue or when you read the description to what this is. So I don't feel bad about that. Anything that you guys want to talk about in spoiler mode, or are in spoiler free zone, or should we get into spoilers?
The thing, and this goes for, I mean, it was even in the last Spider-Man graphic novel that we read, which was Spider Island, which they actually referenced in the first issue
the
of
best
this
Spider-Man graphic novel.
The best graphic novel is Spider Island. However, the thing that I always like with Spider-Man comics is it's more humorous.
Yeah.
It doesn't take itself as seriously. Like, and this is not going to be a huge spoiler, but
Ricky
it's
has
an
to spoil something at some point. Yeah.
It's like where there was one point where I used the hashtag Spidey Whiteys, where Spider-Man had to make a tidy whities out of webbing because the suit got pulled off, and kind of the humor there is Steve Rogers is watching him. Then it's like, oh wait, who's gonna see me? Johnny's storming his favorite bar, and then you even seen like Mary Jane, who just looks and goes, idiot, and just closes the laptop.
Yeah, Mary Jane. who only makes a couple appearances. For everybody who's a Mary Jane fan, you'll be disappointed.
I was very
Yeah,
disappointed
very true.
because MJ's my girl.
I
man.
know you love her.
MJ's my girl.
You can't really. Okay, we don't need to get into a whole
MJ
debate
greater
about
than Gwen
these.
Stacy.
I mean, it's not a fair fight. It really isn't a fair fight. I have some love in my heart for Gwen Stacy because I think she's a cool character, and I
MJ's
really
my girl,
appreciate, of course, the famous falling and dying.
Dudes dig the redheads, though.
They do, and I think Mary Jane's actually honestly a big part of that. But it's just not a fair fight. Gwen Stacy versus Mary Jane. Mary Jane just has so much more.
It's kind of like Jordan versus LeBron. Not a fair fight, man.
Not a fair fight. And everyone's like, and unsub for all of our LeBron fans out there. So that's a good point with the humor, obviously. One thing I actually really love about graphic novels with Spider-Man and single issues with Spider-Man is they will do the, hey, check this out.
Yeah.
This is referencing something in this issue. Go check it out.
They do a great job of that, where you'll usually see, like, after the bubble, the little Spider-Man icon.
Yeah.
And then it'll be like, da-da-da-da-da-da, Nick. Thanks, Nick Fury.
Can anybody get away with that? Like, can anyone else get away with doing that? Or if someone does it, are they going to be seen as ripping off Spider-Man?
I think only Marvel can get it. Because right now, it is a Marvel thing.
Yeah.
I've only seen it in Marvel Comics.
Yeah.
It's the only thing I've seen in it is Marvel.
Well, they'll be like, if DC tried it, or anybody independent tries it, where they'll be like, I don't know if you can get away with it.
And DC kind of goes with a more serious tone, anyways, where it wouldn't fit in for DC compared to Marvel.
The footnotes.
Yeah.
Maybe they need to take a page from Morning Glories and just have a whole appendix at the end of this is what's going on right now.
So
this is what you missed.
You might be confused. Let's catch up.
Yeah. So anything else we want to talk about in spoiler-free zone? I want to get into spoilers. All right. So what's going to happen, everybody, is that we're about to go into spoiler mode, and if you want to read it, now would be the time to do it. Don't press pause yet, though. I will give you the warning when you should do that. We're going to enter spoiler zone now, so hit pause if you want to read. Anyways, welcome back, guys. So I want to ask just a simple question to begin with.
Yeah.
Johnny, since you're our guest today, just what was your favorite part of this? What did you enjoy?
There was so many different little parts in there that I liked about it. The introduction of Silk, more so when she saves Peter. A few little parts with Electro were pretty cool. I wouldn't say the storylines like with Black Cat were my favorite, but it was nice having that in there too, like as a underlying this is creeping up on you type thing.
Yeah. Ricky?
I'm going to say Black Cat. And the reason why, maybe while reading it, because my favorite hero is Batman. Maybe it's because it gives me kind of a Batman, Catwoman kind of a vibe, but just how manipulative.
Because she's a cat?
Well, yeah, not just that,
And
but
a
like
thief?
the whole like on again, off again, like love relationship that Peter Parker and Black Cat have, kind of similar to Batman and Catwoman, but just how like it's interesting how manipulative Black Cat is. Like, she's manipulating Electro to do what she wants, eventually wants to kill him so that she can get a lackey of minions behind her that'll be happy that she killed off Electro. Or even at the part where she's in the prison and she's like, what I want to do is, no, that's too quick. As she goes to smash the spider and she just takes it in her hand and goes, I'm going to play with it first for a very long time. So kind of like that, I'm not like that kind of like predator-prey type relationship where it's like, no, I'm not going to be like the lion that jumps on you and kills you. I'm going to toy with my prey first, and then I'm going to kill it.
Yeah, I think she's an interesting villain. She's not, in the upper echelon of favorite villains or anything like that. I like the move because Ricky, you know me, and anybody who listens to our conversation on a regular basis knows I like these type of. I love the people who are the behind the scenes making moves or manipulating other people to make moves. So I love I'm going to get Electro to help me, but then kill Electro in the process, so that way these guys now want to help me.
And it just shows like how.
It's a level of intelligence.
Not just that, it's kind of the level of intelligence or how easily manipulating Electro is. Because we even see when he was in the bar all the minions were like making fun of him, like, oh, yeah, the Punisher, he could beat him up. He doesn't even have any superpowers, man. And he's like getting angry, and the bartender even has to go, yeah, like if people followed my rule, like no fighting. Please don't destroy my bar. Please do not put me out of business.
Please stop destroying shit.
Please stop getting angry.
Electro, you're destroying way too much. You got to stop it. You got to calm down. Yeah, I definitely like that. It's. I'll be the one who gets this question first for the kind of, I guess, least favorite part or something that irked you a little bit. Issue 1, it came on a little strong. The Peter Parkerism, the kind of modernism of it, it just was a little much. I felt a little forced.
Well, the thing I didn't like it was it felt like issue 1 tried to pack. There's 2 things I didn't like. The first thing was it tried to pack a ton of stuff into one issue. Like, we went from Peter Parker learning about the Doc Ock thing and getting used to that to setting up Electro to setting up Black Panther. If you wanted to just
Black
stop...
Cat.
Yeah, not Black
Cat. If you just wanted to stop right there, you would have been fine. But then after that, we get this, like, I'm just going to call it stupid because that's what I thought it was. Like, the How My Stuff Works thing, I completely skipped it because I'm like, you know what? Maybe if I was new and didn't know who Spider-Man was, it would be interesting to see what his powers is.
Yeah.
But I know what they are. I don't need to know what his powers are, especially when they're trying to do this, like, kind of campy cartoon comic strip thing where it's more silly. But then you get, like, weird stories like the the Spider-Man from 2099.
Yeah.
Where it's like... It felt like, oh, you just threw that in there to promote something that you were going to do later that July. And then they even tell a Kane story where it's like, this has nothing to do with what went on.
Yeah.
And then they finally get to one that leads into, if you were going to read the Learning to Crawl, it leads into that with
the point
Clayton.
1 through point 6 or something, or whatever it was.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Go ahead.
Sorry, I completely agree with that. They just jam-packed way too many things inside issue 1. They probably, if they wanted to do something like that, either make a separate thing with those or make it like 1-1 and then make number 2 the rest of that.
Yeah.
Because this is just way too many things for number 1. Because even at the end of 1, that was just a bonus, though, that we got to see some of the Inhumans. Yeah.
The Inhumans thing was bonus, but, like, the thing that really turned me, like, it really turned me off was, like I said, the Spider-Man 2099. Yeah. Blatantly at the end of it, it says, to be continued in this July in Spider-Man 2099. Number 1. It's like, so you put that in there to get me to buy it. And then they tell the Kane story, and at the end it says, Kane, for more Scarlet Spider action, check out New Warriors, on sale now. So you only threw that in there to get me to buy it. Like, that is a huge turnoff for me. And, I mean, if you were going to do that, then say at the end, like, hey, check out this bonus thing of Spider-Man 2029 and have that be like what the Inhumans thing was.
Like a really cool cover photo and then put it in there. Just something that really grabs your attention and says, okay, I actually might be interested in reading it, as opposed to, here's 2 pages of something and, you can buy it later on now. Yeah. That had nothing to do with what we were looking at.
Yeah. Everybody, it's my favorite thing on radio is the welcome to our commercial-free hour. And it's like, this is a commercial right now. Yes. Don't forget to check out this show coming up at 5. This is still a commercial. Get to the music. That's what it feels like to me. Yeah. We'll get back to another, gripe that I have soon enough. But let's talk about Silk, because Silk is badass and awesome.
Yeah, she is.
She is Spider-Man on steroids.
Why is she better than Spider? Like, I do not understand why she is better than Spider-Man.
I don't completely understand it either. The idea is Spider-Man, Peter Parker gets his powers because the spider falls on him, it bites. Then it falls onto Cindy Moon and bites her on the foot. As Johnny said before the podcast started getting recorded, we all know that getting bit on the foot makes you more powerful than getting bit on the arm. I mean, that's just a common fact. Everybody knows that. But part of it, I guess, like, at first I thought, like, did the spider get stuck in her? Is that something that happened? But no.
Here's a theory that I have. Is it because, and I don't know, I'm not good with anatomy or anything, is it because Peter Parker got bit on the top of his hand?
Yeah.
Is it because maybe where Peter Parker got bit, I know that there's veins that run through your hand.
Correct.
But there could have been a possibility that the vein that runs through your foot where she got bit on the top of the foot was like it bit right into a vein. So that makes it more powerful because it's going right into the bloodstream.
Possible, sure.
Maybe.
It's possible. I don't know.
I'm just trying to figure out because like
my thought is for her, because she kind of references it multiple times. She was locked in a basement for 10 years.
True.
Bunker, if you want to call it a
do you
bunker.
think she was experimented on?
Very possible by Ezekiel. She was obviously kind of manipulated and psychologically abused by believing that she has to stay in there, although seemingly this might actually be a plot line later. Otherwise, Moreland will come out and he will attack her. And he, Spider-Man's already defeated her a couple times. That's why she came out, because he's like, yeah, he's dead. But so that could be a thing, that there was experimentation going on. My other thought is she was there for 10 years. She mentions it multiple times. She was possibly just learning shit herself. She had nothing else to do.
Just kind of like honing her own skills?
Yeah. I mean, she was there for,
kind of reminds me of
a decade.
Kind of reminds me of the reverse of Superman from Flashpoint, where I mean, Superman in Flashpoint, when they go back in time with the Time Force, he's locked underground, but he's like a more scrawny, wimpy Superman because he can't feed off of
the sun. Yeah.
And he gets outside, and it's kind of like that. Oh, I feel good. I feel strong. Where maybe she's the reverse of it, where it's like, hey, you know what? I was locked up for 10 years, and while I was in the cell, I just started playing with stuff. Maybe Peter Parker has powers that he hasn't tapped into because he hasn't tried.
I'm glad you mentioned that, because I think it was either 1 or 1.1. It mentions that for a short time he was able to do it out of his hand before he did the gauntlet, the actual gauntlets for the spiderweb. So maybe it is a thing with them, and he ran out in a sense. His wasn't as strong because she's stronger than him in every way except strength. So maybe it's just he can't.
And that
could only do it for a little while.
And I mean, I don't want to make this sound like have it come across the wrong way, but that could just be the writers and stuff doing.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, he's a male, so the males are going to be a little bit more stronger, like species wise. Like, the male of the species will be stronger than the female. But
physically,
in 1.1 in that whole arc, because I accidentally read that one because I was stupid. That's another thing I didn't like about that, where it's like you have this jam-packed issue 1. Then you go into this origin story where, by itself, Learning to Crawl is a graphic novel in its own.
Yeah.
It's like 4 to 5 issues. Well, the very end of 1 plus the 4 or 5 that you read, it's a graphic novel on its own, basically.
Yeah.
And it's a good origin story. Like, if we would have read Learning to Crawl and that was it, I would say, well, wow, that would fit in with what we might get kind of tone-wise from Spider-Man Homecoming.
Yeah.
A Spider-Man that's learning how to do his skills early on. But to get to your point, he does mention where he's like, I make the tech. And that's where I think his name was Clash, who was the white Spider-Man who did it all with sound. That's where he got the idea to make his own. Because he's like, if he can do it, I can do it. But then I thought to myself, and I'm like, this has to be a different Spider-Man. Because I know that there's some Spider-Mans that I've seen, like the Andrew Garfield one, where he had to make it. And it had to come out of that machine.
Yeah.
But there have been other Spider-Mans, like the ones we grew up in the 90s, where it came out of his wrist. It came out of him.
Well, the 1990s cartoon one, he did have the cartridges, too.
Did he?
Yeah.
I remember.
You're thinking of the only one that I know did that when it comes to TV and movie is the one that was, what's his name again? Tobey Maguire.
Tobey Maguire.
He was able to do it.
Because I remembered seeing
the 1960s
Spider-Man
one, I don't remember.
Yeah.
It's too long ago from Spider-Man and Friends.
No, but I always remembered there was a difference. So it's like, maybe this is the version that needed the cartridge. That's all I think with it.
It couldn't be very well that.
Yeah, I mean, they even reference to him having the time limit of an hour for his webs to work, and then how Doc Ock expands that time limit to, I think, like 3 or 4 hours.
Yeah.
I don't remember which.
Because they make reference to that in Learning to Crawl, where he webs up Clash in a cocoon, And Clash is like, no, get back here. I got you for the full hour. And he goes, good, because that's how long it'll take for my webbing to dissolve around you.
Yeah. So, yeah, I don't know necessarily why Silk is the more powerful. There's obviously a lot that's going to go on with Morlun. I don't know if that's the way I'm supposed to be saying it. It just reminds me of Merlin. Basically, which just finished watching the BBC show Merlin not too long ago. It's okay.
I've never seen it.
Same. You don't have to.
You don't have to.
It's really just okay. Anyways, 5 seasons in, I was like, okay, I'm a little bit tired of this. Anyways, the Great Hunt is something that's referenced that's going to come up. So they give you some foreshadowing of what's going to happen pretty soon, referring to Silk as the Spider Bride. And that might explain why they're constantly banging all the time, literally once on the ceiling.
Yep.
And
I mean, if you got the powers, would you not use it to do that?
you might as well,
right?
You might as well.
That's another thing that I noticed. Like, maybe it's just Spider-Man comics, but they are very sexually suggestive.
Yes.
Plus, the art is very sexually.
Yes.
Just
I mean,
suggestive.
they're
playing to the target audience.
Yeah. Well, I was gonna say it's. Spider-Man always feels, nobody get mad at me, please. I like Spider-Man, but it always feels slightly horny teenage boy.
Yeah.
I mean, the one of 2 times that we see Mary Jane, she is wearing a very low-cut button-down with her huge boobs up and ready for the world to see. And there was one, I really forget what it was. It was something, I think it was Silk that was doing it, where she was saying something about something being big, and the angle is just like of her ass. And it was like, I get what you're suggesting. She's got a nice ass. I get it. I see what you're doing here. They get who the audience is, like you said, Ricky. I wanna get to another gripe I have, only because I didn't really know the character very well, so I was very confused for a little bit, and that's Anna Maria.
Yeah.
We have to mention
Marconi.
it. Marconi. For anybody who doesn't know or who's about to yell at us, we understand now she's a little person. And she references it or mentions it herself, not in this issue, but in previous things, as I learned by Google. But the first 3 or 4 issues, everything is at an angle.
Yeah.
So you can't tell if she's just really short, if she's a child, what's going on.
And that's when we first see her and she walks into the apartment. It looked like it was angled from the floor up, and I'm like, now, is it because it's angled from the floor up, or is she I'm like, because she's at the door handle.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Her head is at, because at first I'm like, is she a little person, or are they just angling it weird?
Well, the worst part about that part in particular was that they ended it the page right before they ended it with Peter saying, "Well, I hope there's no other surprises." And then they show that it's like, "Oh my God, it's a kid."
Yeah.
He has a kid.
I hope there's no other surprises.
Honestly, it's a little confusing coming into this not knowing the character.
Yeah.
at all.
Exactly.
And just having that complete misunderstanding because of the way not camera angles, I'm using film terms. The way that the art is being drawn, the angles that they're using it, and you can tell that she's short. You can tell she has certain features, and you're just kind of left a little confused saying, okay, here's a perfect analogy. For anybody who works somewhere, you'll probably understand this. There's a woman in your office, and she's pregnant, but she's only 5 months pregnant, and you're not sure if you should say anything or not, so you just don't, and you kind of hint at it and hope that one day she'll say something about the pregnancy.
Exactly.
And then you can go, oh, congratulations.
Yeah.
Congratulations.
Yeah, I didn't want to call you fat. So that's what I was just kind of waiting for something to kind of suggest or finally reveal that for sure.
Yeah.
So I knew. Really dumb kind of gripe, but it was just with the artwork of if someone's coming in new, because this is issue 1 we're talking about. This is the beginning here. Make something super clear so you're not just sitting there confused.
What the hell is going on?
Yeah. Is there anything that people want to specifically talk about? I mean, we didn't really go into the story of this so much.
And that's the thing that I didn't like about it was I think because issue 1 was so jam-packed, plus the insertion of a graphic novel that didn't need to be there.
Yeah.
It was very hard to gauge the story right away.
Yeah.
To where I almost got the same feeling, Mark, that you said you got, I want to say, during Morning Glories. After I read Learning to Crawl, I could have put it down.
That was not Morning Glories. That was 2 ago.
Or Fables.
Yeah.
I could have put it down and said, yep, I don't need to read. Because by the time I got through Learning to Crawl, I know you guys did the smart move of, fuck it, not going to read it.
Yeah, not all of it.
But I was like, you know what? It's here. I'm going to try to read it.
Stick
I'll
to the
be
main
honest,
issues.
by the time I got through Learning to Crawl, I had forgotten everything that they had established, with my air quotes for my Blog Talk Radio listeners, established in that first issue.
Yeah, it was, I don't know, it was, the story of it was nothing too substantial. I mean, it's kind of setting things up. You're setting up Black Cat being this kind of new rising mob boss. She kind of tricks her way into getting some territory.
Is she a character that you can lean on as like the mob boss character, like the main villain?
No, I don't think so. I actually, that's something I was going to get to. I think she's a weak villain for the future arcs, but they're also already referencing a new villain that's coming. So I'm okay with it for that sense, because I know that some bigger, badder villain's going to show up pretty soon. I would hope pretty soon for this great hunt that's going to happen.
Yeah.
But yeah, she's kind of a weak villain. She's manipulative, and that's cool. But she just kind of shows up out of nowhere, and she takes over Eel's territory. And all of a sudden, she's just manipulating Electro into doing what she wants him to do. And her only motivation is, I just want to reveal Spider-Man's identity. I just want to reveal it. That's all I want to do.
They say hell hath no fury like a woman scorned. So, I mean, that's what she's doing right now. She's doing like step by step to slowly get at Peter. She doesn't want to just get him and be done with it.
Yeah.
She wants to ruin everything for him.
And the one thing I'm looking at is I'm just looking at some of the Amazon reviews that people wrote.
Yeah.
And the one that I find funny, because I didn't even have this gripe with it, was they gave it a 4 out of 5. And it says, while Silk might be annoying at times. Did you guys think she was annoying? I didn't think
Not
she was
so
annoying
far.
at all.
No, I don't think she's annoying. I mean, I don't know, she was locked in a basement for 10 years. She's going to want to see the world.
It's like, while Silk might be annoying at times, I still think it's stupid that no one ever noticed a distinct change in Peter's behavior. This is a solid reintroduction to my all-time favorite superhero. I just saw that first part and I was like, Silk didn't seem that annoying to me.
No, she honestly didn't really do too much besides make out with Peter Parker and then save his ass.
Yeah, fits your and that's the thing that you were mentioning, I think, before we recorded was it's like, oh, well, she saved him when Black Cat pulled the mask off, but who really screwed up the day at Fox News, or sorry, the Fact Channel?
The Fact Channel.
Was
J. Jonah Jameson. Yep. Good old
Standing
Jay's.
right in the center of the frame, Jay.
And I love that because they're like going to all. That was actually a great moment of everyone like, oh no, they're gonna reveal Spider-Man's identity. How could you? And then like his news buddies are like, how could you? And then the next thing is be in the center of the frame when this is happening. You completely ruin the shot. And I love that the moment of like, did you get it? You? Yes. Spider-Man?
No.
And of course, he was not facing the right direction, anyways.
Yep.
So, anything else? Anything else anyone wants to talk about?
The only thing that, and I know this is a reintroduction, so I guess this is what makes it okay. I just the only thing with the reveal part that I couldn't get through my head was I was like, but 7 years ago, because that's when Civil War happened. I'm like, but 7 years ago, Peter Parker revealed his identity. He said, "Here I am."
Yeah, but are we ignoring that?
I'm assuming we must be.
We have to be, right?
Because it's a reintroduction. This is the Amazing Spider-Man.
Yeah.
Not just that normal Spider-Man, man. Yeah. They're different.
This is the slightly above average Spider-Man.
Not spectacular, not friendly neighborhood. This is your Amazing Spider-Man.
Absolutely amazing.
What are they going to do when they run out of
Which
words?
he kept mentioning that at the beginning, where when they were trying to make the distinction between Doc and him, where he goes, no, I'm not him. I'm your friendly neighborhood Spider-Man. I'm the friendly neighborhood
I'm not the
guy.
spectacular
Yeah,
Spider-Man.
I'm the friendly neighborhood guy.
Yeah, the not that spectacular
Yeah.
Spider-Man. Although, really, he did kind of improve Spider-Man in quite a few ways.
Yeah.
Also made him into a complete dick, evidently.
I
guess
didn't
so.
mind it, though. I didn't mind a little bit of a dickish on...
well, no, that's Doc
Spider-
Ock.
Doc
Oh,
Ock,
okay.
yeah.
Doc Ock turned into a dick Spider-Man.
Like when he comes in Black Panther, Black
Black Cat?
Cat, don't
Yeah, you
ask
gotta calm
questions,
yourself there.
Just punch in the face.
Yeah, just
Just
completely
punches
knock
her
in the
square in
mouth.
the face.
No, don't ask questions. Pretty simple. So what we'll do is we'll go ahead and give our reviews. Ricky?
I'm going to actually be very shocking here. I'm going to say a 2.5.
Wow.
And the reason being is I like the art and the ending was good. However, the fact that I could put it down after learning to crawl, B, the fact that learning to crawl was in it at all because it didn't have to be there, and C, that the first issue was jam-packed with too much pointless shit. 2.5. 2.5 out of 5, right down the middle.
Right in the
Thank you.
middle.
I didn't know what we were going out of.
2.5
2.5 out of
50.
100.
So, really bad score.
2.5 Spidey Whiteys out of 5.
There you go, Johnny.
That's what we're doing.
What do you got?
You know what? I really like Ricky said, I really like the artwork. I like the storyline. I'm also a Marvel guy, so obviously there's going to be a little bias in there. I can't help myself. Out of 5, I'm going to up Ricky's by a little bit and say a 3 out of 5.
There you go, 3 out of 5. I'm actually going to agree with Ricky on the 2.5 out of 5. To me, I mean, the artwork, it's not my favorite kind of artwork, but it's
Spider Island was much better.
Yeah,
than
besides
this.
my one major gripe on the artwork, it's Spider-Man artwork. It's exactly what you expect to get out of Spider-Man. The storyline was all right, but not great. This is just kind of, to me, everything about this screamed average. It's just, I mean, that's just all it was to me.
And the thing that's the most important part to me when I am reading a graphic novel, no matter what it is from that first panel, get me involved in the story. And if you lose me, if I feel like there's too much going on in that first issue, like the first issue needs to be lay down what we're doing, get me grounded in the universe. And if there's too much going on, if you're switching back and forth to different stories, you're going to lose me. And that's what happened with this one. And that was my main gripe is all the extra shit that was at the beginning.
Yeah.
Pardon my language, but it was.
That essentially didn't need to really
you just
be
didn't
there.
need it there. You didn't need
Yeah.
it there, especially the last two that I said you're just trying to jam a product down my face.
Yeah, pretty much.
Or down my throat, I should say. That's the line.
Down my face. So you guys can let us know what you think about this one if you read it, or if you're excited about there's a Spider-Man movie coming your way. And who's your favorite Spider-Man? Obviously, besides Tobey Maguire, which is everybody's favorite, specifically in the third movie. So let us know what you guys think down below in the comment section. As I said below, please hit that subscribe button because we want you guys to continue sticking around.
Please.
We, of course, have Johnny from the Rick and Johnny podcast with Ricky Widmer, who's right next to him.
He'll be back again.
You know, you guys obviously talk about everything nerdy, everything with the movies. The movies, you guys know about the talking pictures.
Movies.
Anything in nerd culture, all that good stuff. We're glad to have you, so thank you for finally showing up after all these invites that we've given you.
I only got half the emails.
Only took half a season to get them on. Right?
Yeah, right? And then you guys, like I said, let us know what you think down below on Twitter, @MostValuablePod, and hit that sub button. I can't say it enough because we really want you guys to stick around and see everything. Hit the thumbs up. We will see you guys in 2 weeks when we're going to be reading Valerian, the City of Shifting Waters. I just want to tell you guys a little bit about this so you can get excited. So this one, and there's a lot of words in here, so we're going to have fun. Galaxity, capital of the Terran Empire in the 28th century. Valerian and Lorien are agents who protected mankind from rogue time travelers. Now they are sent to New York in 1986 to intercept Galaxity's worst megalomaniac, some name I'm not even going to try. That in 1986, the world is in ruins and New York is about to be swallowed by the ocean. Oh, that seems appropriate. The two agents must navigate the shifting waters of the past, get it, to make sure that the future will exist.
I don't get it.
I don't get it either.
Because of global warming,
Yes,
taking over
I
the
get
city.
it.
Okay, there we go. We got you guys.
I'm being sarcastic.
You're being a little bastard is what you're being.
Let's be fair. I started that. My bad.
You're also a little bastard. Joined today by not fellow, but by a bastard and another bastard on this podcast. Let us know what you guys think about everything. We'll see you in 2 weeks when we read Valerian, The Sea of Shifting Waters.